course. So contemporary issues and trends in education. Here we're going to look at the trends of education, what are the developments that have taken place in education since in Africa and in the whole world and internationally, or rather internationally. And we are going to look also at the contemporary issues that have emerged and how they have been solved, and those ones were and what has always motivated these people to always bring about these changes. We're going to first say that contemporary issues and trends in education course will assist student teachers in appreciating the strengths, challenges, innovations, and reforms in education at both the national and international levels. The point is, it helps us appreciate strengths, challenges, innovations, and reforms in education. That is both internationally and international and nationally. There are many issues in education, and some are general, while others are across the globe. That's what we mean when we say international. While some others are specific in Kenya. For instance, we can talk about issues like health, housing, gender disparity, and poverty, pressure groups, family, community values that affect education at local and national levels. And we can say that these are contemporary issues that affect education in national and international levels. In this course, we are going to focus mainly on the trends and the development goals, that is what we call the Millennium Development Goals, and education for all, the national goals of education, diversity, the role of peace education, micro and macro level, at macro and micro levels. Education, like any other sectors and services, affected by dynamics of society, and these dynamics are what we are calling the contemporary issues. We're going to look at the first issue, which is globalization, and we are going to see the features of globalization. I hope you all know what globalization is. Therefore, these features of globalization is like the increased flow of goods and services, including exports, but we can have goods being brought from maybe Uganda, we can have others from Ukraine, Russia, and so on. We also have increased mobility of people internationally, whereby we have people moving from Kenya, going to Qatar, looking for jobs, and others moving from maybe Germany, coming to Kenya for tourism and such things. We also have rapid change or transformation that is revolutionary. Absolutely, we cannot say that we are where we were back in 1990s. We have really changed, and this is what we're calling rapid change or transformation. We can also talk about growing influence of information and communication technologies. There have been growth of technologies, and this is a very big, or rather, main feature of what we are calling globalization. It is also, you can say that globalization is also a product of advances in science as well. Yeah, it is a byproduct of advances in science. It involves increased mobility of capital. We can talk. It is generating new wealth. It also brings about interconnectedness and interdependence of economies of the world. And lastly, we can talk about growing force of liberalization. We're going to look at the benefits of globalization, and we can see that it has the potential to reduce poverty and thus generate development. When we talk about issues to reduce poverty, that comes along with a lot of things that we are going to see. Secondly, we can talk about globalization that has increased the flow of information between geographically remote areas, and much of this is readily available at minimal cost, especially with what we're calling technology development and so on. Similarly, we can talk about new technologies and other sectors can be promoted. Absolutely, that comes along with what we are calling globalization. And we can also talk about by enhancing movement of people across the globe. Yeah, we have seen one of the features of globalization being that the movement of people from one country to the other. That one is being enhanced by what we're calling globalization. You can see other things here that like it is also a vehicle of readdressing the imbalance of inequality between the rich and the poor in societies. It has also increased more awareness about gender. We can also talk about it has contributed to increased civil liberties, strengthened democratic institutions and practices in the world. There's other factors there like the reduction of child labor, and that one has been achieved through globalization. Finally, we are going to look at the limitations of globalization, and we are going to see that it also has limitations, like it is observed that the system has a potential of eroding the traditional value institutions and generating social disintegration. This occurs because of the bombardment of local communities with new and foreign ideas. Consequently, African values such as extended family systems and communalism are on the retreat. Secondly, we can talk about it is said that it has the danger of increasing the gap between the poor, the rich, and the rich countries and communities. This may worsen the disparities in the education systems of the world. Finally, we can see that it is enhancing industrialization and accelerating urbanization. The global system increases the rate of environmental degradation, pollution, spread of communicable diseases, among other problems. Kiapi in 2008, he said that women migrants flock to towns for jobs in flourishing garment industries, but try a story of exploitation and human rights abuse in the rapidly globalizing world. They are subjected to forced labor, low wages, long working hours, sexual harassment, among other. Kiapi noted that while globalization benefits the educated and skilled worker, the majority who are unskilled are left out, and that marks our end of this issue of globalization. Next lesson, we are going to look at Millennium Development Goals and education for all. Thank you.